Hi guys, welcome to Crime Wine Murphy. And Murphy is a Shih Tzu, my partner in crime. This case was in England, and the person involved is Lucy Letby. She was a national health nurse, RN, and worked in the NIC unit up north in England. And things started to happen. Babies in the NIC ward started dying. Well, is that unusual? Well, uh, it started to be too many deaths in one place with one nurse on duty every time something happened. Now, people started talking, the nurses, um, the doctors, and it was becoming apparent that, these nurses wanted cameras on the ward. They wanted cameras. Everybody's pointing the finger at each other. But once it was investigated, there was one common uh, denominator in this, and this was Lucy Letby. Now, Karen Reese was the nurse in charge of the nursing division. And there was doctors, the consultants, and the people that are in charge of national health, especially that hospital. They asked the nurse, Karen, to take her off duty. She wants a reason. They're not telling her. They said they need you to take her off the ward, put her somewhere else. But she wants to know why. And, she says things like, but she is one of my best nurses. She works night and day. If I call her up, she comes in. She's one of my best nurses. It doesn't matter if you have a good nurse or a good doctor. As we know from around the world, that there's been doctors, nurses, dentists committing all kinds of crimes. And apparently they were good at their job too, good at lying. But anyway, Lucy Letby was on trial the first time for murders, at least 13 of them. But at the end of the trial, she was only found guilty. I say only, but of 7 murders and 6 attempted murders of these little preemie babies. Well, because some of them didn't die, but some of them were brain damaged and will never be the same. And several attempts were made on a few babies, several attempts. Now, there was twins. She didn't care. She just didn't care. Now, at the time, there was no cameras in the NIC ward and no body cameras on the nurses. But actually, since then, that there are cameras being put up in places, and nurses can wear body cameras like the police do. When you can switch them on, switch them off when needed and everything. To, cover themselves, I guess, in case of any other psycho nurse might attempt. to be a copycat. But Lucy Letby has had another trial for the one she wasn't found liable for in the first trial. Now, this was Baby K, and they retried her on that one, and she has been found guilty of attempted murder. Now, this must come with a price as well. I mean, is it what they're going to sentence her to? She's already been sentenced to life in prison, whole life in prison. I mean, it's justice, I guess. It's justice. Now, justice has been served again, and so these events, these dramatic events, happened back in 2015, 2016, a whole year, June to June. And it may have carried on if she hadn't got caught. I mean, how long could she keep going? Now, because of these allegations before they charged her, she got the doctors in trouble. This nurse, Karen Reese, was her number one fan and said she just couldn't do a thing wrong. Yeah, bad judgment, hey? Bad judgment. You should never feel that way. You can't trust nobody, okay? You cannot trust anybody 100%. Now, when something's not right, it might not be right. And you should at least be open to some kind of investigation. Like here, if something's going on, what they'll do is take you out of the situation and then sort it out. Then have your little investigation. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. That's to protect all parties. That's even yourself included. But Lucy has filed appeals in her last sentence, which was denied. It was denied. Remember, she's serving a whole life for all these murders and attempted murders. Life means life in England now. When they say whole life, it means you are not getting paroled or nothing like that. But you do have the right to appeal. Okay? And apparently she appealed her sentence on grounds of an effective counsel. Yeah, her lawyer did something wrong. She wasn't happy with him, whatever the reasons may be. And that was one of her grounds for the appeal, because you have to have, there's like 4 different legal appeals, grounds for appeal in England, and you have to have either this or that, and you have to have the proof. But she filed one of these, her first appeal, which was denied. But the thing is, on her second retrial, she had the same lawyers. She had the same defense team, which she just claimed was ineffective. Huh. How does that work? So that was a lie. That was a lie. Now, she she did the appeals, and her final appeal was rejected also. So the first appeal is you go to a single judge, and it's kind of like on paper, there's no hearing, it's something like that. Well, denied. Now, there was a second appeal, which is full court, which is 3 judges for the Court of Appeals. And their job is to see if they can grant the appeal or consider the appeal. But anyway, denied. So her appeals are over. She cannot appeal no more. That's it. She can't appeal no more. And she has, in England, whole life means life without parole, right? Just in England, they call it whole life sentence. So that is kind of the update on Lucy Letby, the NIC nurse that committed the ultimate. Now, if you watch this case, if you were following the trial, you know it's in England and they got some different laws. They don't televise a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that is not allowed to be heard by the public, so it's never released. It's so tight guarded that you really, if you're not there, then you're not going to find out what was said, more or less, in the court. So here are some photos. The biggest thing Lucy ever said was, "Trust me, I'm a nurse." These are true journeys, guys. True journeys. Now, Baby K was the retrial, which she had just been found guilty of. When they were searching her home, not just her home, her mother and father's home, Lucy had kept tons, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of notes, and from the hospital, you know, like them notes you keep, you're supposed to sign and put back in the drawer, you know, in case they're ever needed for some reason. But she would take these notes home from the hospital, which she wasn't supposed to do because they are medical documents and stuff, personal. So they should be destroyed or left at the hospital. But she was keeping them for, I don't know, keepsakes. But she also wrote in a diary. She had a diary, and she would scribble in a notebook. And she hated herself. She admitted, "I did this. Why? People hate me. My own parents will never forgive me." There's lots of things she said. Why is she writing like that? "I'll never have kids. I'll never have kids." Yeah, you'll never have kids. No, you won't. Because this woman's psycho. Of course she wasn't going to have kids. She can't even take care of the ones that she's taking care of. She knew herself well, that she was evil. She put in there, I'm evil. Hate. Something really wrong with her mentally. Just because you look sane, that's that's how they get away with it. They look sane, but really they're not. And and she's one of them. That this picture right here in the middle, you know, the two, what you call it, bailiffs or prison guards, and she's in the middle. That's an artist drawing from in the court, and there she is, and she looks normal. What does a killer look like? We've seen them all. The faces of a serial killer. And just because you said you didn't do it doesn't mean you didn't. And of course, it has to be proven in the court of law, which it was proven in the court of law. And she's going to stay in prison until she comes out in a pine box. But of course, she's denying. Well, of course, she can deny it. But what they found in her home and in her her parents are enablers, okay? I don't know what happened when she was a kid, but they are enablers. And they are her best and only fans. Their daughter couldn't do nothing wrong. Listen, your daughter was mentally ill, and she probably has been for a long time. You probably just ignored her, didn't pay attention. God knows what kind of fights and arguments you all got into, because I'm sure you did. She probably was the ruler of the house. And she probably abused her parents. Something stemmed when she was little. Now, apparently, she was very sick as a child or a newborn or something, and had trauma. Well, she can't remember the trauma, but I don't know how her mother told her what trauma it was. This is why she may have done it. Well, because she's not mentally stable. Most people that do this kind of thing, they're not stable. So they can look like it, talk like it, but then they go in another world somewhere. Woo-hoo. This is the face of a serial killer. So, guys, thanks for stopping by to Crime Wine Murphy. That's just an update on Lucy Letby, on her retrial of Baby K. And I'll see you in the next one. And don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. It's free. It helps the channel grow. And don't forget to comment and let me know what you think. See you in the next one.